Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Grizzly Bear Sims YouTube channel, and welcome back to American Truck Simulator. Here we are at the Tidbit in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and we are hauling a load of, I believe, let's see what we're hauling, wrong button, a load of used packaging, 35,999, not sure why they don't just call that 36,000 pounds of used package stuff, cargo from Tidbit to Phoenix, Arizona to FedEx. So let's go ahead and get started with our job today. So we'll get back over here in the other menu here, right there, and let's go ahead and get our truck fired up, and we'll get back in the cab here and get going. So thanks everyone for tuning in for another episode here. I hope you all are having a wonderful, wonderful month of April, and hope everyone is having a wonderful day and a wonderful evening or wonderful night, whatever the time frame is that you happen to be watching this video. I'm going to pause for just a moment and get a screenshot here, I think. All right, we'll take the parking brake off there and head on out of the parking lot here. Now we are hauling this load for JB Hunt. There was a point in time in my young career when I was working for the Dr. Pepper Bottling Company that JB Hunt was one of the companies that I was looking at if I were to have chosen to go into the over-the-road trucking career. And actually, I did think about it quite a lot for a period of time. And then for whatever reason I opted not to, and well, I'm certainly glad that I didn't, because you know, destiny and all that kind of stuff is pretty much everything. And you know, I've got owe a lot to my IT career as how I met my wife, and so yeah. But I think the appeal of JB Hunt in some of the companies that I was doing my research and everything on, JB Hunt was kind of at the top of the list, just simply because I guess at one time I believe that Karl Malone, who was a basketball player, NBA basketball player for the Utah Jazz, actually used to drive for JB Hunt, and for whatever reason that kind of interested me. But like I said, I'm glad that I chose to do what I chose to do, and that was go into the world of IT, because without that, then everything would be, you know, obviously would be a changed life for me. I wouldn't most likely wouldn't be living in Colorado, and I wouldn't might not even be doing the YouTube thing, and I certainly probably wouldn't be married to my wife that I'm married to now. And well, that's just the thought of all those things, especially my wife and everything, is just too difficult to fathom. So again, glad that I didn't chose that career. But anyway, so off we go. We are headed to Phoenix. Our drive time is just a little over 480 something miles, I believe. 9 hours and 41 minutes to get it completed. We are fully rested and heading down the road here. Like I said, towards leaving Albuquerque, headed towards Phoenix. Looks like we might have a Smoky there in the sky watching us. So this is actually a World of Contracts job. I alternate kind of between just the regular ATS jobs and World of Trucks jobs. I really don't. I guess I don't prefer or I don't like the World of Truck jobs, simply because the way that it governs your speed down. Our top speed with World of Truck jobs is 65 miles per hour, even though we happen to be driving in a 75 mile an hour zone. So I guess we'll just play this as, you know, in order for us to get this JB Hunt job, being an owner operator, we had to commit to keeping our speed down at 65 for the whole, you know, company image and all that kind of stuff, I suppose. Or maybe we'll play it as our insurance premiums, we can't afford them to go up should we get a ticket for doing more than 65. But yeah, I understand why they do it that way, and of course I think I think the main reason why they govern the speed down on the World of Truck jobs is basically to keep things um, somewhat equal. But I sort of disagree with it simply because it does bust the immersion factor just a little bit, in the sense that here we are, we're driving down. I think it's I-40, yep, I-40, going across, from Albuquerque across western New Mexico and into Arizona, and the speed limit here obviously is 75, but we're only able to drive 65. And again, I understand that World of Trucks has some awards and things like that that they often do, and they're trying to keep things fair, I suppose. But I would still say that let us do the speed limit. I don't know if they can sort of figure out what the speed limit based on where the truck happens to be located, but in any event. But hey, it was a job, and it was kind of a direction that I wanted to go. There was only a couple of jobs out of Albuquerque that was available on the regular, sort of the regular ATS jobs. I forget what that's called, but anyway, you know what I'm talking about. And they were going the opposite direction. They were going towards Texas, in the coast to coast map. So I kind of wanted to make our way towards Arizona, maybe up later, another episode or so, maybe up into Nevada, and check out some of the stuff up there. Maybe even make our way over to towards California and check out the other mod that I'm running, the US 99, I believe it is, mod that I'm running that adds the extra roads and everything there. So we can check that out together. Another thing I wanted to tell you all about, and more or less, I suppose, invite you to come over and participate should you want to, is for my trucking, and let me back up just a little bit and kind of go at this with a little bit of history. So as I have indicated many times on my videos, the whole simulation gaming thing for me all started with flight sim, and it started with flight sim way back in the 1980s on the Commodore 64, and of course back then we didn't know what a virtual airline was because, well, the internet hadn't been fully invented and rolled out to all the masses and everything like it is today. But me and a buddy of mine who also had a Commodore 64 and also enjoyed flight sim, he and I would basically keep sort of a logbook of all of the flights that we would make from and to and all those kind of places, and I suppose that was the very early whole premise and everything of a virtual airline was sort of doing it that way, and we had a lot of fun doing it that way. And so back in the probably in the either the very late 90s, maybe around 98 or 99 time frame, it was sometime after I moved to Denver, I believe, I stumbled across something called a virtual airline on the internet, and thought, well, this is cool because I can sort of, join this site. I can log my hours. The airline that I joined was basically replicating American Airlines, which, whoa, that JB Hunt driver is gonna be in for some trouble there. But he, this virtual airline I joined, again, it was kind of based on the American Airlines real world airline, and it was a lot of fun because it sort of gave a reason to do things, a reason to fly, much like within ATS, as an example, we have various missions that we can do, various jobs that we can do, and of course we can, with mods and everything like that, we can enhance the game. We can drive for Navajo if we want to, or FedEx, just a couple of trailers passing us over on the right, or as we are hauling for JB Hunt should we want to. That enhances the whole realism and the whole reality of things. Well, the virtual airlines was what more or less did that for my flight simming experience. And again, I've flown for many different virtual airlines. Of course, many have come and many have actually disappeared because of, just different reasons and such as that. But within the ATS world, and actually I used to run a virtual trucking company for ATS about a year and a half or so ago. It was called Grizzly Bear Trucking, and met a few people that I still know today. Rubberburner Gaming, for example, was an individual that used to drive for Grizzly Bear Trucking, and he was one of my managers over there that helped with driver recruiting and all that kind of stuff. Well, anyway, it was sort of a manual process, and I, wanted to branch off into doing other things, and that was right before I started doing YouTube videos on a fairly regular and consistent basis. And so really I just got so busy with doing so many other things that I just more or less decided that, well, maybe now's a good time to shut the virtual trucking company down. And so essentially I did. And again, could never really get an automated type of process. My ultimate goal was I wanted drivers to be able to just basically fire up the game, have an application that would run external to ATS or ETS2 that would essentially track all the driving data and everything that took place throughout the trip, and then basically automagically uploaded that information to the website where it could be approved by a manager, and essentially you track your miles and you track your jobs and you track your money and all those kind of things. And so I could never really figure out how to accomplish that sort of on my own, and there were a couple of different things, and there were some different types of websites that I looked into and everything, but really, like I said, long story short, never could really figure that out. And so shortly after that, I stumbled on a virtual trucking company that I signed up for and quite enjoy driving for them. And it's called Sea Haven Trucking, and I'll post a link down in the show notes, and you guys are welcome to come over and join. Again, they have an automated system that basically tracks all your telemetry, that your truck and everything, you're from and to, and what you're hauling and how many miles and what your fuel consumption was, and whether or not you're breaking the speed limit by driving too fast, and your fatigue and all those kind of items. And let's see, we can bypass the nearby wait station. Great, because we were in the wrong lane to have to pull over and go through that anyway. But anyway, Sea Haven Trucking is the name of the virtual trucking company, and it's a pretty laid back group. You basically start off as a rookie driver, and you basically just work your way up. To the number of jobs that you complete will bring you up through the different license classes and such, and you can apply for your CDL with them, and that gets you a little bit more status and everything within the company. So if that is something that you're interested in doing, it's a little different from World of Trucks in the sense that, World of Trucks, even though it does track your jobs and everything, I just find that the Sea Haven Trucking virtual trucking company is a little bit more immersive for me, and kind of what I think of as far as a virtual, trucking community or a virtual airline or whatever. So check that out. Again, I'll post a link in the show notes or down below the video screen, and you guys can take a look at that if you're interested. You can do both ETS2 as well as ATS, so it's got all of the destinations and all of the job companies and all of that kind of stuff is all built in. So all you basically have to do is just show up and drive. So it's actually pretty cool. And again, I'll post a link for you all to take a look at and see if that's something that you want to do. About 16 minutes into the video here, we've got about 270 miles to go. So I don't think we're quite halfway through our journey. Obviously, the pace in which that we are having to drive is obviously much slower than we would normally do, because normally I would have this thing running about 80, probably about 79 to 80 miles an hour. I typically drive about 4 to 5 miles an hour over the speed limit, and as I've pointed out, I often do that in real life as well. just kind of the way I roll. I suppose if there's any law that I break, even though I do consider myself to be very much a law-abiding citizen, pretty much anytime I get behind the wheel, with the exception of school zones and stuff like that, I am driving a little faster just because, well, I just would much rather keep up with traffic. I don't necessarily want to be the pace car. I don't want to be the one that is setting the speed out there necessarily on the highways, but I certainly don't want to be run over either. So that is just kind of my philosophy of things. Again, running a number of mods that are enhancing the visual things that you're seeing out there. The landscape and everything is a little it's enhanced. I would say pretty great deal. I would say the skies, those things. You can take a look at my mod spreadsheet, grizzlybearsims.com. Again, that's grizzlybearsims.com, and there's a link in the upper right-hand corner of the page for my mods and add-on directory, and that'll take you there, and you can take a look at those mods. Just select ATS, the tab at the bottom for that, and you can look through those mods and get the links to those and go off and download them for yourselves. Most everything that I do have linked out there are Steam Workshop mods, so that is sort of a little bit safer approach to getting mods, much like being able to download mods from the Giants mod hub for Farm Sim. I just feel a little bit safer in using mods from those types of places, because typically they are going to be direct from the mod author in most cases, and B, again, they're more or less safe and have sort of been tested and will be certainly a lot more compatible with what we've got going on with the versions of the game that we're running and all that sort of stuff. Back in the Tom Dooley Peterbilt, this was the same truck that we ran the job last time in, so basically 2 weeks ago, essentially, by the time you're watching this video. I don't have my spreadsheet up, so I'm not 100% sure the date that you're watching this video on, but essentially 2 weeks ago, from the time that you're watching this video, the job that we did, I believe it was in New Mexico. It might have been Arizona to New Mexico. I can't remember, but that was in the Tom Dooley Peterbilt, and that mod is available on the Giants mod hub, and it just enhances the stock in-game Peterbilt. I think it's the 579 model, but add some additional features to the truck and just some additional eye candy and everything, both in the cab and outside. And I do enjoy mods. I enjoy how they change the look and feel and the different variety of things. I mean, let's face it, just like we often talk about with Farm Sim, if it weren't for the modding community, if it weren't for the men and women who devote so much of their free time, spare time and everything to modding for these games, because let's face it, they literally are doing that. They're devoting their free time, what could be spent playing the game. They're devoting that time to modding and creating wonderful mods, and whether they be, sort of like process mods, things behind the scenes, like the way that the visuals are changing, the road textures, the landscape, etc., or trucks or trailers, or like with Farm Sim, the different types of equipment and stuff like that. That is just, these games would be so old, they would get so old so quickly if it weren't for the wonderful modding community. And especially like with Farm Sim as an example, because typically when Giants releases a new version of Farm Sim, historically they have included 2 maps. Now I think for Farm Sim 19, I have heard that there might be 3 maps that might come more or less as part of the base Farm Sim 19 package. I don't have that 100% confirmed. I've not read that with my own eyes. I believe it is just something that I heard, and so please don't take that to the bank, but at least I think that is the case. And so this is the first time that Giants has rolled out something with 3 maps. But let's face it, most likely it's going to be the third map is going to be the South American map, most likely, and then there might be two brand new maps. But even if that is the case, with 3 maps or even just 2 maps, those would get old pretty quick, and especially with just the default equipment and everything like that. Again, we would probably, after about 2 or 3 months of heavy play use, so which is typically, I'm logging anywhere from probably 30 to maybe 50 hours a month on Farm Sim. And that's if I'm not traveling a whole lot and everything, because I'm pretty much in the game almost every day doing something. It might just be doing some off-camera work, taking care of the animals and everything, and kind of getting things moved for the next video, the next story, whatever the case might be. But even with just light use, I would think that after a few months, the game would get quite old. This game would be quite old if we didn't have extra types of trucks and folks working on modded maps, and of course, like with the ETS2 example with Pro Mods, that they have really enhanced most of Europe with additional scenery and stuff like that, and have done it in a very classy way, very quality way. All right, so 124 miles to go. I think what I'm going to do is as it's starting to get a little bit dark here, it's about 5 minutes to 9 o'clock here in the evening, I think I will just basically do a jump cut here and pick us up as we're coming into the outskirts of Phoenix. I believe that's where we're headed, is Phoenix. And I'll see you sort of on the city limits in just a few minutes. All right, well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. We are just at our exit. We're about a mile away. And actually, I brought you all back a little earlier, a few minutes ago, but when I come up on that ramp there, we had a traffic snarl with the AI traffic and ended up having to wait about 5 minutes for it to clear, and it still wasn't really fully cleared. I had to basically swing out really wide right and then swing back in really wide left because there was a semi that was parked there and he wouldn't budge. So, AI is what it is, and we just have to kind of deal with it and put up with it. So we are here at FedEx in Phoenix, Arizona. And let's just go ahead and take a look and see where they want us to drop this off at. And there she blows right there. They've got the cones set up for us. So easy peasy lemon squeezy. All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, I will start wrapping things up and just saying thank you all so much for watching my videos. I appreciate you guys tuning in as frequently as I'm releasing videos, whether it be on FarmSim, ETS2, ATS, or just whatever might come down the pipe at some later stage. We'll drop our load here and see how we did. And there we go. Excellent. That's what we always strive for. We made $8,749, got some additional XP, and we'll just go ahead and continue and go to our screen here. So thank you all again so much for watching. I do appreciate that. I hope you are enjoying my videos, my content. Please make sure you stay tuned. Keep up with me over on Discord, and don't forget to sign up for the Simulation Gaming Society. That is the group that Duckzorly, Eustace Pharmer, and myself have formed. You'll find a link to that down below. Again, thanks for watching, and I will see you again here for ATS in 2 weeks, next week, most likely for ETS2. Take care of yourself and also of each other. God bless you all. Bye-bye.